Okay, so the topic that I'm gonna talk about in this video is coterminal angles. And we talked about coterminal angles before, and as a reminder, coterminal angles are two angles in standard position that have the same terminal side. Here we have an example, 140-degree angle. The terminal side is here, but if you go 220 degrees in a different direction, that's the terminal side of that angle is going to be the same position as well. So these angles have the same terminal side, but their measures are actually different. You could get this angle, 140, if you add 360 degrees to negative 220. That will give you 140. That's not how you add a positive and a negative number, but you actually subtract 220 from 360, but you're going to get this value. So we could get another coterminal angle by adding 360 to 140 again, and that's going to be, I'm going to come here, so that's going to be 0, 0, 5. So angle 500 degrees angle will also have this terminal side, the same terminal side. So you can find coterminal angles by adding or subtracting 300 degrees. So the full revolution around the circle. Okay, so let's practice this idea. Here's our example 5, which says find the least positive angle, theta, that is coterminal when an angle measuring 180, where your theta is actually between 0 and 360. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna subtract 360s or full revolutions, or add 360s full revolutions, depending on where you start with and where you want to end up with. So we're starting with an angle of 800 degrees, which is clearly out of our range, right? We need a range between 0 and 360, so we need to bring it down. So we're going to subtract 360. So 800 minus 360, we have, okay, 7, 440. So that's closer to what we need, but it's still not in this range. So we're going to subtract another round. So we actually got an 80-degree angle. So this angle is between 0 and 360. So that's our answer. Theta is 80 degrees. And here's, or it's, yeah, coterminal with 800. So here's a picture of what's going on. So 80 is just, it's in the first quadrant, but if you go a couple of circles around, you end up in the same position, and that will be your angle of 800 degrees. Okay, so now I want you to try this by yourself, and I want you to find an angle theta that is coterminal with an angle measuring 870 degrees. And again, our theta is between 0 and 360. So go ahead and pause here and try to find that angle. All right, so I assume that you did that. And now we are moving forward, and we're going to practice again. This time they gave us a negative angle, and again, it's this time around, it's below the range that we're looking for. So we're going to be adding 360. Adding 360. All right, so basically it's 360 minus 45. What do we have? We have 315 degrees, and this value is between 0 and 360, so we're good. We found our theta. Here it is. All right. And this theta is coterminal with negative 45. And here's a picture of it. That's the illustration. If the 45 degrees clockwise, here's a terminal side, but if you go 315 degrees counterclockwise, you will end up in the same position, same terminal side. Now, the last question that we want to answer is, how do we do that with radians? How do we calculate it with radians, coterminal angles with radians? But before we do that, I want you to attempt this problem. It says find an angle theta that is coterminal with an angle measuring negative 300 degrees. And again, your theta is angle between 0 and 360. So go ahead and try it. And let me know how you did in class. Okay, so here's our problem, last problem that we're gonna do for this section. It says find an angle theta coterminal with 19 pi over 4, where your angle is also between 0 and 2 pi, so within the first revolution, counterclockwise. Okay, so instead of, so this one is way greater than 2 pi, right? Because the closest number divisible by 4 that I can think about is 16. 16 by 4 is going to be 4, so it's bigger than 4 pi. So it's way bigger than 2 pi. So what we're going to do, we're gonna, so we have 19 pi over 4, and we're gonna subtract 2 pi's from it to bring it down. Okay, so one thing, again, what we do in order to subtract fractions, we need to find a common denominator. So first of all, we put 2 pi over 1, and now we need the denominator of 4. So what we're going to do, we're going to multiply the denominator by 4, but we need to do the same thing with the numerator, right? Multiply by 4. So what we're going to have is 19 pi over 4 minus 8 pi over 4. So now we have the same denominator, and we can go ahead and actually subtract. Okay, so we have 11 pi over 4. 11 pi over 4. Now this is still big. This is still big. This 12 pi over 4 will be 3 pi, and we need to be smaller than 2 pi. So we need to subtract again. So 11 pi over 4 minus 2 pi over 1. So again, multiply by 4, the top and the bottom. We get 11 pi over 4 minus 8 pi over 4. And that gives us 3 pi over 4. Okay, so now we are in the correct range. So our theta that's coterminal with 19 pi over 4 is going to be 3 pi over 4. And if you're curious about what it looks like, it's here. So 3 pi over 4 is this angle right here. It's actually one of our famous angles that we're going to be using a lot. That's a quarter of a circle and an eighth. But if you keep going, how many circles around do we have? One and another one more. So you end up with 19 pi over 4. And it's coterminal angle. All right, so now I want you to practice this calculation again. And you're going to start with 17 pi over 6. And you're going to find the coterminal angle in the range from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, again, go ahead and pause here and let me know if you got any trouble doing that. And I'll see you in the next video.